She's that girl. Na 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 na. Her name's She-Hulk. Na 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 na. She has a pussy. Na 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 na. She's better than Brucey. No, I mean, we just watched She-Hulk, so you know, I got She-Hulk on the brain. And you know, it's not a pleasant experience.
No.
I was trying to approach it with an open mind because I've heard a lot of like crap about it. You know, it's like what if it's probably not that bad. And Alyssa, she didn't even want to finish it.
No, it was like really boring to me.
And it's a 30-minute show.
I think River's awake.
Oh boy, we gotta bathe the boy.
Yeah.
All right, back in a moment. And we're back. We just bathed the boy, gave him some booba. And now we're back to talk about She-Hulk. Babe, your thoughts?
I thought it was really boring.
In your closing statement.
Boring.
Bad. It was okay.
It was like, what do you call it, like woke the show?
Yeah. It had like 3 like big woke moments kind of interspersed. Like there was one at the beginning with the they them pronouns. Then there's like a part where she like tells Bruce off, kind of, and talks about, you know, being an underprivileged class, you know, being a woman, she's gonna be literally murdered at any point. And then at the end of the show, there's some other woke shit. I can't even. But
Marxism.
It was okay. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it could have been more woke, I guess.
You gotta inject that Karl Marx in there.
Is that Karl Marx? I never read Marx.
Marxism is like, you know, like the idea that there's like an oppressed class and then there's like oppressors and the oppressed.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you apply that to like sex, like women are the oppressed and men are the oppressors. So like any type of, you know, statement, like all those like lines and quotes that are like, you know, like framing women as like victims of society or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's like, you know, that would be Marxism.
It's like we don't live in like Syria. Like this is the United States. Like women are equal here.
Yeah.
I don't really understand like what the problem is. Like you get catcalled in the street sometimes. Like that's your big like.
Yeah.
Don't like more men get murdered than women?
Mm-hmm.
Like way more?
It's just like, you know, like.
Aren't like most homeless people men?
Yeah.
Like
big
what?
time.
Like what is this like speech about being like literally murdered?
You know, it's just like both sexes each have their struggles and each have their privileges.
Yeah, there's just like differences, you know, like in the different sexes, but ultimately we're legally equal, you know. There's definitely assholes out there on both sides. And, you know, men are definitely like physically stronger, so that can be intimidating to women. Yeah,
I just don't really like, you know, feminism and all this rhetoric because it's kind of just like, oh, women are really like girl power. Women are strong and powerful, but we're also weak, oppressed victims.
Right. Like, which is it? Yeah. It's like we're really cool and badass and better than men, but also like take us seriously. Like,
but also,
like we need to ask permission to like.
Yeah.
Or like we need your acceptance. It's like this weird like situation, and it just seems really forced. It's like, can we just make a show like about She-Hulk as a character? Like, do we need to force all these like politics, like these gender politics into it?
Yeah, it was just like really funny because like Forrest was watching She-Hulk by himself like yesterday, like in the studio, and then I came downstairs to like switch the laundry because like our laundry room is like connected to the studio, and I just walked in on like the most like woke part of
yeah,
the
it's when
show.
she does her like little like Twitter speech or whatever,
and where she's like I have to suppress my anger all the time when I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men try to explain my job to me or whatever. And I was just like, I remember I was like listening to this while I was like switching the laundry, and I was like, babe, like this is ridiculous.
It's just like once you frame yourself like in that mind frame of being a victim, you can
You're just
never
gonna
take
see.
you can never take criticism anymore. Like anytime
Yeah.
anyone criticizes you or your profession or what you do, you're gonna be like, oh well, he's a sexist.
Mm-hmm.
You can just label anyone as like being part of the problem, and then you don't have to like listen or change or be challenged in any way. It's like a cult.
Yeah.
It's like cult like behavior.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, why did they always make these shows about like women empowerment, and then they don't make the characters like interesting or good?
Yeah, I just feel like I've like my entire life I've just heard girl power and like, you know, kind of just like the feminist like rhetoric, and like I'm just like tired of it.
You know what's cool? Like the character Black Widow,
Yeah.
because she's like just a badass, and
They
she
don't
doesn't
talk about
she
it.
never like says like I'm a woman, girls get it done. Or they do this in The Boys. They like literally parody that
Yeah,
in The
yeah,
Boys.
yeah.
It's like so
That's
spot on.
That's why I love The Boys.
Yeah, The Boys is great.
We can talk. I could literally talk about The Boys all freaking day.
There's
I
great
could- I
great
can-
women characters, and they don't talk about being women all the time.
And yeah, like it's just like they talk about, they like specifically kind of like make fun of that whole thing, like where like, you know, like women, like girls get it done, and then, you know, it's just like and yeah, I love also how in The Boys how they have like Maeve like as like kind of like the gay icon or whatever of the seven.
Right.
And then, you know, she's like there's like a scene where her like girlfriend or whatever is like, well, like Maeve is actually bi or whatever, and they're like, well, we don't care, like that's not a, like the public isn't gonna understand that.
That doesn't track as well or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like,
And then
it's better if you're just like fully gay.
yeah, and then like they were like kind of trying to coordinate like her and her girlfriend's like outfits, so like one is like butch and one's like feminine, like, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, and then yeah, she's like, people accept gay couples more when one is feminine and one is masculine or
Right.
whatever.
It's so funny. Yeah, it just feels really corporate. Like, I don't know. Yeah, like all these like corporate wokeness is so cringe. Like it's one thing when like, you know, regular people are woke or whatever. It's like, you know, sure, that's their ideology or whatever. But when like a corporation does it, it just feels so disingenuous and like so like predatory. Like
Yeah,
like,
no, literally.
like they're just taking advantage of like dumb people.
Yeah.
Like IMDb retweeted like the Twitter moment where she was like, you know, the infamous like lines or dialogue or whatever where she's like, you know, like we're literally gonna be murdered if we, you know, speak our truth or whatever. And they were like, they posted the clip and with the caption, ahem, louder for the people in the back.
Yeah.
And it's,
I hate when people say
come on. Like it's bad. Yeah. Again, it's bad enough when people say that, like, it's like a Twitterism, you know, like people comment that. And I see these kind of like phrases like pop up on the internet and they make the rounds, and like, it's kind of like a joke, but it's like not a joke because you didn't come up with it, but people just post it like as if they're original or funny. It's weird. I don't know why people do this. I'm trying to drawing a blank on like other examples, but it happens every so often where like on my YouTube videos, people will make a comment that's like a funny comment, and then it'll just be copy and pasted on so many other different types of videos. And it's like, you didn't make that joke, you didn't come up with it, so why are you just like kind of moving it around? And it's, you know, it's really dead when the corporations get a hold of it and start using it in their marketing. You know, it's so funny. Like they're making like TikTok trailers for like Netflix movies now.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did like a trailer I saw for The Gray Man, and they cut it like a TikTok. It's just like the way like movies and marketing are right now. It's just like so strange. Like they're trying to appeal to like the youth and like trying to appeal to like a certain demographic, and it's really like transparent. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's like, I guess it works. I don't know if it works or not, but it's to be determined. It seems like pretty much everyone I've seen doesn't like She-Hulk, but you know, I'm still open to it. Like maybe the first episode was just really woke, and then like now that we did all the setup, you know, her character can develop.
She's also just like a bitch. She's like really mean to
She was
Bruce.
like mean the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
So maybe people are telling you you're mean not because you're a woman, because you're just mean. Maybe you should like listen to people.
Yeah, like maybe just like being kind and just like considerate of others is like a good idea.
It's just, yeah, she wasn't the most like endearing character. Like you didn't really give a fuck about her. Like you're just like whatever.
Yeah.
And like the whole like her whole origin, I felt was like really rushed.
Yeah.
Like truncated.
It was just like weird, like, oh, like some drops of Bruce's blood like dropped into her arm. Like that's what
the best they could come up with.
Like that would, I don't know.
Why are they even on a road trip together in the first place?
Oh yeah, Forrest the whole time was just like, are they gonna fuck? Like,
it really seemed like there's like some sexual chemistry building between them.
But there's not.
And then they get into this like brawl at the end, like this really childish like fight, where like she destroys this whole like beach property, and then like I'm like, are they really just about to slam right now? Like that would be interesting. Like they're cousins, but they fuck anyway.
Yeah, babe.
There we go. They're second cousins. Doesn't count.
I don't know about all that.
No, it's they're not gonna fuck, but it was weird that like, we've never heard of her before, but they're like so close that like they go on road trips together. Like I don't go on road trips with my cousins. Why the fuck would I do that?
Yeah, like it's just weird to go on like a road trip like alone with your cousin.
Yeah, it's like, wasn't he like on the run
They're
for
like
his whole life, like for like the past like 15 years, like, and then fighting in the Avengers? Like when did he have time to like rekindle this relationship with this random cousin we'd never heard about?
Yeah.
I guess like they could have just like, I don't know, they had to like really get in and explain the backstory really quick. Why do they have to be like
cousins?
I guess in the comics they're cousins.
Huh.
She has the same kind of blood type where like she can turn into a Hulk apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't really need to be cousins though. They could have changed that.
Yeah.
And the whole like addressing the camera like Kevin Spacey style is kind of awkward for like the MCU. Mm-hmm. Like I know she does that in the comics. That's like her thing. She's like a Deadpool. But do they really need to? Do they need to like roll over everything from the comics? That like, do the 4 people who read She-Hulk like really need to be like placated that much? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they liked it. Hopefully some people get a kick out of it. I don't know. I know I said I wasn't gonna watch it, but I was just too curious. And then I watched it and I was like, Alyssa's got to see this. I want to get her take on it.
I know. I like didn't want to watch it. Like,
I just have no interest in it, except for the fact that like, I just want to kind of like see what it is like culturally. Like I kind of want to like watch the reviews about it and just like, is it really as bad as people are saying? Because I've heard a lot of shit on it about, online about it. So, yeah, it wasn't super offensive. It was okay. I didn't really understand the part at the end. There was like this random chick bust through. It was directed really weird.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Gotta get the mic closer to fucking mouth.
I'm like trying to manage.
I know.
A newborn.
Well, get the mic closer to your mouth. You're like leaning away from it. Lean into the mic. Here, want me to push you into it?
It's fine.
It's not fine.
I have it right now, like right next to my mouth. Like, okay. How much closer can
I want you to be right up on it.
Like, I'm literally touching it with my mouth right now. You guys can't see, but it's literally like I'm literally touching it.
Yeah, so this like chick busts into the courtroom right at the end, right when she's about to give her big presentation. And it's like, who is this chick? She doesn't have any lines. She just busts in, and then it immediately cuts to Jen and her friend talking about her turning into She-Hulk. And then she turns into She-Hulk and turns around, and the chick who just busted in is like, who are you? And I'm like, bitch, who are you? Why are you here? I guess maybe that'll be explained. Just like the alien thing, like there's an alien that shows up and makes them crash. That's like never explained. They're setting it up, Well, any other thoughts on the She-Hulk?
No.
No?
Just thought it was like bad. Oh yeah, like in the beginning, okay. Like one part. Oh, I guess a few things stuck out to me towards the beginning. Her friend's outfit in the very first scene is like disgustingly horrible.
Yeah, I guess we're going back to the 90s.
So bad. With like the shoulder pads. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Horrible. Why would you wear that?
Yeah. She took a risk with that one. Didn't quite pay off.
No, definitely not. And then there was the part in the beginning where she's like at some club or bar or something in the bathroom after having the car accident, so she looks like super rough.
Yeah.
And then like a group of women come in and they just like start putting makeup on her and like spraying hairspray on her. And
what was the point of that scene?
I have no idea.
Girls get it done?
Girls get it done.
Like, was that supposed to be... Yeah, that's the other thing. It's supposed to be a comedy. I keep hearing, like, it's supposed to be, like, this funny show.
It wasn't funny.
They're like, it's Marvel's first comedy.
Oh, and then there's a part where, like, Bruce is, like, explaining the whole, like, her situation to her or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's, like, he's just, like, talking to her in, like, such, like, a weird way.
Oh, yeah, he takes her down to his
lab.
lab.
He's, like, yelling at her, but,
And
like,
then,
I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, she's, like, kind of gets, like, frustrated with him and starts, like, kind of talking over him. So he, like, raises his voice. But then he, like, kind of stays in this, like, yelling, like, phase for too long. It was weird. Like I guess he did the dubbing later or something. And he's explaining things like this the entire time. And then he goes into further backstory. And he's still explaining things with this, like, really intense tone. And you're like, what's going on? It was, it really threw me out of the realism of the story. Because I was like, they're just two people in a basement. Like, there's nothing else happening. Mm-hmm. And, like, the music's swelling really loud. And it's like, is he trying to yell over the music that he can't hear? It was kind of bizarre. Yeah. Bruce Banner-Hulk is, like, he's getting pretty old, too. I noticed that. Like, he's looking pretty elderly.
Can you hand me my
They should have just kept him.
Like,
they should have just kept him as the Hulk the whole time. Because he was looking way too old. Yeah, here's...
I don't want to, like, over River's head. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, that part was weird too. But yeah, we got some nice moments between them. You know, some character building work. You know, if I was her, I would just be like way more excited to be a Hulk. I get that she has like her high powered career, you know, but like it's like you can literally like throw boulders and shit now. Like there's no like moment where she was like excited to be the Hulk. Like I just needed like a little bit.
She was just like maybe she'll have some character development and be like better. But yeah, she was just like I just didn't like her.
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah, she sucked. Kinda.
I didn't care about her like at all. She was just like mean the whole time.
Yeah, there's like a few things they could have done that would have really improved it. Like if the villain at the end had been more of a presence or more interesting or more intimidating. Yeah. That would have been exciting. Yeah, if she had a few more moments of like levity where she wasn't just acting like a stone cold bitch the entire episode, because you get like why she'd be upset, you know, and that's understandable. But there should still be a few moments where she's like happy to be the Hulk, and you can kind of like vicariously experience it through her. Because like if I turned into a superhero, that'd be fucking awesome, you know. And it's like she's talking about her student loans. She got to pay off her student loans. I'm like, you're the Hulk. You don't have to worry about student loans anymore. Mm-hmm. Just make a few like public appearances. Get some fucking... Put yourself on a Monster Energy drink. You're good.
I didn't like the burping scenes. There was like a scene where her and Bruce like burp together.
Oh yeah.
That was weird.
It's kind of awkward.
Like that's what they
they get drunk together.
That's what they think is like the comedy. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Like the burping scenes. Like,
but they do that shit in normal comedy. They do that in normal Marvel movies all the time anyway.
Yeah.
If this is a comedy, like every single Marvel movie has been a comedy. There's no like extra.
I just
comedy.
would never like watch this on my own or
we're watching every episode together.
Or watch it for fun. Like I'm only watching it to make Forrest happy.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I won't subject you to the rest of it. If it gets better, maybe. No, we won't even watch it then.
It's not gonna get better.
It's not gonna get better. Yeah. There's a part where he explains to her like, oh, there's benefits to being the Hulk, and I'm like, oh, cool. They're gonna do like a scene where they're both like doing cool Hulk shit, and he's like, oh, you can drink as much as you want. I'm like, oh, that's not that cool.
That honestly sounds like the opposite of a good thing.
And he's like, we can't get drunk because our bodies metabolize the alcohol.
And then
fast.
so they just like drink a shit ton of alcohol, and it's like why?
Why would you do that? The whole reason you drink alcohol is to get drunk.
Yeah.
But then he said all buzz, no barf. So.
But then the next day she was like hungover.
Yeah, and then she's like, you failed to tell me about the monster-sized hangover. I'm like, but wait, isn't that the whole point of the scene was that they can drink as much as they want and there's no hangover, no barf? It's like they set it up and then they completely contradicted themselves in like the very next scene. It was bizarre. Can someone explain this to me? Like if anyone knows like what happened in that scene, it's like confusing because it's like either like the worst written scripts ever, or I'm just missing something. Which
no,
is,
I think it's the worst written script ever.
They just made like a complete error. It's not even like a continuity error. It's like a story like error. He explicitly states something and then they contradict it in the next scene. That was weird. Yeah, it was weird. Like the CGI on her looked worse than the CGI on him. I guess they still had like the Hulk model hanging around from like the other movies, and then they just spent like way less time on her model. Because I felt like the Hulk CGI looked solid, but then her look was like, maybe she's harder to do because she's like a woman or something, like to get the texturing right. Because like he's got like that nice like stubble and stuff that kind of catches the light and makes it look more. He's got like nice fur and kind of patches of fur on his face and stuff that make him look more real. What did you think of the CGI?
Yeah, she looked weird. He just looked like how he did in like, the movies.
Yeah, maybe they just have more experience with him. But I mean, the CGI wasn't terrible. It was, it's about as good as you can expect, I guess. But let's talk about something really, really interesting. We're gonna pivot here now to our discussion about something that's way more culturally relevant and important. The Bachelorette.
Oh my god, we still have like half an episode to watch.
We still have lots of episodes to watch. They're in like week 5.
What?
Yeah. We should have started this way earlier.
I had no clue.
I like knew it was starting a couple weeks ago.
Why have I not been
I
like
screenshotted it and I was gonna like tell you about it and then I forgot. And then I was like randomly on Twitter and I saw something about it. I'm like, oh yeah, we gotta hop on that shit.
Wow. Next time we film the podcast, maybe we'll be caught up and we can talk about it.
That's a tall order. The episodes are like an hour and a half or more.
Yeah, we
each.
watch like half an episode a night.
They really drag it out.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So yeah, we only get to watch like half an episode a night. We only have so much time in the day. We were gonna watch an episode tonight, but we got to do the pod. So hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. We're missing out on our Bachelorette for this.
Yeah, I had to watch the Hulk.
Yeah, Alyssa had to watch the Hulk. She hated every second of it. I was like, babe, like, please give the show a chance. Like, I know it's been, talked about as like the wokest show on TV, and I know everyone hates it, but like, approach it with an open mind. And Alyssa was like, okay, and I think, did you do that?
Yeah, I just thought it was like super, super boring. Like, I would just never watch it. Like, I just had the urge to get on my phone like a billion times. Like, it just never like gripped me. Like, I was never like.
They should have got Kevin Spacey to be like the opposing like lawyer that she has to like, and they could both talk to the camera. That would have been good. Just kidding. That would have been terrible. But no. Anyway, back to the Bachelorette. What's going on? What is happening?
Rachel and Gabby.
There's 2 women this time?
Yes.
Can you explain this?
I mean, these were like the 2 women on the last season. Hey, remember what you guys when we were talking about Clayton? Clayton was the Bachelor.
Oh yeah, we made a lot of episodes defending Clayton.
And yeah, we defended Clayton. Everyone thought he was like a huge asshole. He, a little recap. Everyone thought he was an asshole because he had 3 women at the end. Right. Susie, Gabby, and Rachel. He fucked Gabby and Rachel. And then Susie was like the last one to like have like a fantasy suite, like fuck date or whatever. And she almost just like left the whole show and like quit because she was just like, I can't handle that you like fucked these 2 other girls or whatever. And then that made Clayton like realize like, oh shit, like I fucked up. And basically now like Clayton and Susie are together. They're still together. I followed them both on Instagram. Nice, happy ending. They hang out all the time. I think they live together. Are they married or are they just kind of dating? No, they're just boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's a good season. I'm pretty sure they live together. A lot of drama. Yeah, I feel like most of our audience who listens to this show, I could be wrong, but I feel like they probably don't watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Yeah, so you guys need some drama recap from me. But at the end of every Bachelor season, they choose a chick from the lineup in that season to be the Bachelorette
of her own show, right? That's how they usually.
Yeah,
Is that how they always do it? Or
yeah, I think they do always
Yeah.
do that. But this
they
time
choose a popular
but
girl
this
and make
time
her the
they
Bachelorette.
chose two. They chose like
Right.
Gabby and Rachel. So both these women were fucked and dumped by Clayton.
Literally fucked and dumped. He gave him the old fucking dump.
And I don't. It sounds horrible, but I defend Clayton. I don't think he was necessarily in the wrong.
He was kind of an idiot, but like, I mean,
I just feel like that everyone knew what was going on. Like everyone signed up for this.
Yeah, like the rules were pretty clear, and like what did you expect?
Yeah.
You you gotta expect that.
Yeah, so like, this season of The Bachelor starts, so it's Gabby and Rachel are like two bachelorettes, and like they have like 30 men to choose from.
Right. They've all got to make an impression.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because there's two, so it's like it's not like like the men kind of have to are having to choose two. Like, it's not just, like, one where it's, like, everyone is, like, vying for this, like, one woman's attention.
Right, it really changes up the whole Bachelorette show. I think they wanted to, like, switch it up because The Bachelorette never gets the same amount of ratings as The Bachelor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, The Bachelor is definitely the more popular show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I feel like they were like, maybe we should try to switch it up. The producers were like, we need some fresh kind of energy in The Bachelorette to bring in the ratings. Let's have two women be The Bachelorette. And they're like, oh, we loved your relationship, like you guys really supported each other through all of Clayton's bullshit, like, girls get it done. And and like they're like, but what if we like, pit them against each other in the next season? And then, because they're going to end up liking the same guy.
Yeah, that's already happened.
Right. And then it's like
immediately.
So not only is there that drama potential, because when you're setting up these shows, you're trying to max your drama potential to the max. These producers, they're like the producers of the Truman Show, basically. Like they're just like exploiting these individuals for the juiciest squeeze of drama, and they also are able to exploit the men because now the men have to make a choice between the two women instead of it just being like, I'm there for this chick.
And me and Forrest were talking. We were saying like, our strategy if we were one of these guys on the show is like we would just choose one like before we even started.
Yeah, like which one's hotter right off the bat. Like it's Rachel.
Yeah, I mean, I actually disagree. I think it's Gabby.
I know you think Gabby's the hotter one, but I'm saying as an individual, like it's Gabby. I know it's Rachel. Each of these guys, like I'm sure they have a preference like right out the gate.
Yeah.
So just go with that one. Don't like string them along. Or don't be like, oh, I'm still making up my mind. I really want to get to know both. That's what all these guys are saying.
Yeah.
It's like no, dude, that's not a good strategy.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna end up shooting yourself in the foot and cause more drama. Just like choose one.
And the thing is like if you choose one, like the one that you choose is gonna like you. Like
right.
Because she's like feels like she's like has your special attention, like she's not like
she's
fighting
not competing
with
her friend. Yeah, it puts you in an awkward position. Yeah, and puts them in an awkward position if you're like, well, I'm still making up my mind, you both are so great. It's like, dude, get real. You know which one you prefer.
Yeah,
that was so funny. The first episode is always so juicy because you get to meet all the men and they get to come out and do their little intro. They come out of the limo and they say their little thing, and then they get to talk about initial impressions. And wasn't there like a rose ceremony in the first episode? Who they were gonna keep?
Well, there was supposed to be, but then they didn't do that, and they sent 3 guys home.
Yeah,
and kept everybody else.
Out of the 30 guys, they unanimously, like between the two of them, they decided that these 3 guys were completely unfuckable.
It's just like unfuckable.
I didn't feel too bad for the twins because there was one set of guys and they were like brothers.
Yeah, they were twins.
Like,
that was weird. They came on like together.
They came on together and they like finished each other's sentences and shit. They were like thing 1 and thing 2, and it was just awkward as fuck. And it's like, so which one do I date? Like they're like a unit.
Yeah,
they like live together and shit. It's like, okay, so how do you even develop a romantic connection? Plus they were like young. I can just tell like all the younger guys are gonna like leave because that's just like how women are. Like they always go for like the older guy. And yeah, they were like too. They had the baby face. I was like, no, they're out of here. And then there was a magician, and he was
Yeah, that
he
was
was doing
brutal.
card tricks. I felt bad for him because like sometimes some guys are just like clueless and they don't like understand like how women's brains work. You know, not that I understand, but they have like literally like zero comprehension of like what it's like to be a woman, and you can't put themselves in like a woman's shoes. And it's like a woman does not. There's no woman on the planet who wants to see you do a fucking card trick for your like first date. Like that's boring. I don't care like what like my card is. Like if you're gonna be like my future husband, like let's like talk about like our lives and like our family and like what we value and our dreams. Like what like this card trick is just such like a. It was just cringe. I was just like, dude, someone needs to explain to this guy that that's a bad move, because like you don't want to be known as the magician, you know, right off the bat. That's like something you introduce like later. Like I know I'm into magic, you know. You pull that out, you know, later and be like, this is a hobby of mine, you know. But you don't lead with that, and then they're supposed to act all impressed, like, whoa, wow, you did a card trick. Like, okay, maybe if he like made a dove fly out of the fucking, if he did some like crazy shit, you know, or he started making it rain inside or something, you know what I mean? Like if there was some crazy shit that he did, then that would be like one thing. But it was just like, is this your card? Like, yeah. It's fucking. Then what? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So what else you got? But it was already too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
They sent him packing. What else? Yeah. So they sent those 3 guys home. So there's 27 guys left, and you know, they're starting to go on the dates. It's good, man. It's like the highest quality trash you could possibly consume.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we've watched a lot of trash
You
shows.
heard that little river burp?
Yeah, I heard it. He's cute. We've watched a lot of trash shows in our time, but whenever The Bachelor or The Bachelorette comes on, we know it's like going to be some good juicy trash.
I'm always so sad when it ends.
Oh, like the season, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when the Bachelor's, you know, off, then there's a few months of a break, and then the Bachelorette starts up, and then once that's off, there's a few months of a break, and then the Bachelor starts. So they got a good like, you know, tandem thing going with these 2 shows.
Mm-hmm.
There's like Bachelor Island or something. There's like other spin-offs. I think we tried watching an episode of that, or it's like Bachelor Unrated, or I forgot what they called it.
Yeah, it's like trashy Bachelor.
It's like more like Too Hot for Handle or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just like kind of trashy Netflix trash.
Mm-hmm.
It's not The Bachelor just has such like a prestige and like shimmer to it. It's like the Disney of reality television shows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just got this like kind of you know, personality and quality to it. There was a great bit in the second episode where they're like the women have this grand idea.
Oh my god.
They're like, oh, we're gonna have a pageant. We're gonna make the men dress up in these like in these skimpy little speedos to show off their bodies, and it was so funny. That was my favorite part.
Yeah, they like they have like the men stand on these like stages, like this whole stage, and when they like come out on a stage and like take off their robe, you have to like do a little dance.
And they were like Gabby and Rachel. They were like talking about, you know, who had the best ass, and you know, they were talking about how they just want to like grind their pussy on their abs or whatever they're saying. They were saying some like really like gratuitous like sexual shit, and I was like, this would not be cool if the Bachelor did this.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he like had all the women just like strip and like inspected each one of them.
Yeah, like imagine if it was like 2 bachelors and they were like had the girls all like, because they brought out like the speedos, like what if they had like they brought out like lingerie,
yeah,
or like little tiny bikinis,
and they're like drinking while this is happening too. They're like throwing it back, like these like, you know, that's the other thing with these shows. They always ply everyone with alcohol.
Yeah,
so it's like champagne, of course, and they're just drinking the entire time. It's a pretty toxic show and endorses a lot of principles in our society that I disagree with. But that's why it's trash, you know. Trash is trash, you know. You can't. What do I want the Bachelor to, you know, not be like trash? No, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, just a way you can judge other people and their relationships vicariously, and not feel bad about it. It's like like talking shit on your friends, but in a healthy, more of a healthy way. Because it's not really healthy to talk shit on your friends and their relationships. To focus in on them and discuss them behind their back. So you kind of can have that experience through The Bachelor and be like, oh, well, he shouldn't have done that, or she shouldn't have done this, or I can't believe he said that, or whatever. So it's a fun show to watch, especially with your significant other. I feel like it's definitely like a husband and wife kind of show.
I'm glad you think that, because I feel like a lot of guys aren't into The Bachelor.
I've heard that, but then women will show them more, and then eventually the guys come around and they're asking questions, and they're actually into it. They just want to pretend like they're not at first, because they want to have this manliness or whatever. Oh, I don't go in for those chick shows, but actually they're really engaging. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Gabby and Rachel are gonna turn on each other at some point. It's gonna be best friends turned into, next week on The Bachelor, best friends turn into worst nightmares. It'll be one of those. And there'll be a super cut of them screaming at each other and someone crying on a staircase.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. But yeah, hopefully they find some love and they make it out on top. That's what I hope for the both of them.
Me too.
Yeah. Hopefully Rachel's dad doesn't have to get involved again.
Oh yeah, last season Rachel's dad made a lot of threats. Talked a big game to Clayton. Did anything happen? No.
What's his name? Big Mike or something? I forgot what his name is. He's this Italian guy, and he's if you cross my daughters, I got people I can call, or something. He made a bunch. Yeah, he made a bunch of he acted all a big tough guy. You know how dads are supposed to act around their daughters, boyfriends. What are you looking for?
You mean a wife?
You always make these gestures while we're recording the podcast, and it's just say what you want me to get you. Don't pretend.
I'm sitting here holding River.
Just tell me what you want. Yeah, I'll go get you.
And I would like some assistance.
Just keep the podcast going.
Keep the podcast going. Yeah, Big Mike, Rachel's father. He's a character. I bet we'll see him again on this season at some point.
I don't even think his name's Big Mike. I don't even think his name's Big Mike.
We just made that up.
It's just something like that. It's some stupid shit like that. And he's that's my daughter you're talking to or whatever. What are you gonna do, Big Mike? You gonna kill me on national television? Yeah. Sure, whatever. Yeah, I'll just respect your daughter. Fuck shit, dude. But I'm not gonna be like that with Lena's boyfriends. I'm just gonna be chill, not embarrass her, not be overly protective and weird. Or girlfriends. If Lena decides that she's actually a lesbian, whatever. I'm just gonna try to take a back seat and
be normal,
not be weird. Yeah, exactly. That's the plan. Yeah, but hopefully Big Mike makes an appearance. He's pretty good.
Big Mike.
Kind of just
and then all the guys keep talking about Clayton.
Oh yeah, they keep bringing him up.
And it's making them uncomfortable. They're I don't want to think about Clayton.
It's making the girls uncomfortable. Yeah, because they're he fucked and dumped us. He did the fucking dump on us, and we don't want to think about him ever again. And yeah, it's all the guys are talking shit on Clayton. It's because that's the popular narrative, I guess, that Clayton was this asshole. It's he was kind of just doing what the show wanted him to do. What do you think happens in the fantasy suite? Fantasy. Sex.
Why do they call it that?
They should just call it the fuck shack. That's basically what it is. So it's yeah, if you're taking multiple girls to the fuck shack, then some fucking's probably gonna happen. And it's you gotta try out each pussy too. Why are these women such prudes? It's oh, you fucked him, so now I can't have him. It's no. You can only he can only marry one of you. We're not living in polygamous times. Do you want to win or not? What are you so insecure about?
Yeah, right.
Like, you feel like if he's gonna get some pussy, like, then like your pussy like is invalidated or something. Like,
Yeah, like
no, have confidence in your pussy.
true.
Like, you got the better pussy. You gotta believe that.
It would just be embarrassing. It's just like embarrassing for like Abby and Rachel that like he fucked them and he didn't choose them.
It's
You know
not.
what I
It's not
mean?
embarrassing. I mean, it just is what it is.
Like it's kind of just like
Like he liked Gabby more, or he liked Amber or whatever the hell her name was.
Susie.
Susie, yeah. He liked Susie more, so he chose her. You can't get too butthurt about these things. It's like it wasn't meant to be. I'm all for like just like sexual empowerment and like destigmatizing sex and like the shame around sex like is incredibly toxic, I believe, for our culture. It's all these like illusions that people are under. Like, oh, if you have sex, you're a slut. It's like, so? Sure, I'm a slut. Big whoop. Next. But there's all these like archaic like sensibilities that are still like permeating our culture to its deepest levels. And I feel like it's the, you know, that's changing slowly but surely over time. Like, it used to be like, you know, if you're a politician and you got caught getting sucked off by a dude or whatever, that'd be like a bad thing. But now, you know, you can be gay and be a politician. You know, stuff like that. I don't know. Is that still a thing? Like, if a politician's caught with like a prostitute and they take pictures, is that like bad?
Yeah.
It is.
Probably.
It's still, I don't know. I think I've done too much acid. I'm too like clear in my mind
I think
about these things.
well,
I don't have any like
prostitution is like illegal
prejudice against these
in
people.
like most
Is
states.
it still
Yeah,
prostitution?
I think so.
Why?
You know,
If it's my body, my choice, why can't I fucking sell my pussy to people?
beats the fuck out
Isn't
of
that like
me.
kind of like controlling women?
Yeah, I think prostitution should be legal for sure.
Why? Yeah. Why would that be illegal?
It's just kind of like
Who's it harming?
I guess people, I don't know, like there's like a lot of things, cuz it's like people, it just, you know, like, so prostitution should, some people think like prostitution should be legal, but then they also think that like you shouldn't be allowed to like fuck your landlord in exchange for like rent, like, you know what I mean?
Why not?
Yeah, because like they kind of don't want to be like, they don't want to like it's weird because it's like on one hand they're trying to like protect women because they don't want them to be like exploited and kind of like, you know, made to like feel like you know, having sex like for profit, like, you know, like, oh, like this is my only option, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know, using their bodies as kind of like, you know, a way to like get money, I guess, like in like dire like circumstances, like, you know. But then also it's like, yeah, like we should just treat women as like adults, and like if like, you know, sex is like a commodity or whatever, like they should be able to like trade like what they have for like what they want, or basically.
Yeah, like, I mean, if you've got like a lease with your landlord, then like he can't demand sex to pay him if you've already signed the lease and have agreed to pay him so and so amount of money. Like, you sign a lease.
I mean, he can't demand sex because that would be like rape. What are you talking about?
Like, if your landlord, like, what's the situation? So
Like say like
if you're moving into a place and the landlord's like, oh, by the way, in order to pay for this
No.
place, you gotta fuck me, then you'll just be like, no, and then it's like, go find another different place.
well, I think it's more like, you know, you agree to pay him money, but then like when you can't, like if you don't have enough money to pay him,
Yeah,
like,
and you gotta find a new place.
and then if he's like, well, you can fuck me, like, or like blow me, and then you can stay here, like, I feel like a lot of people would think that was like inappropriate, or like that she was being like screwed over or like exploited or
What's better than
whatever.
having zero options. At least you have one option there.
Yeah, like I don't know.
The other option is just you're out on the street.
No, it is like complicated, but I do think it should be like legal. I just don't. It's just funny like using the word like legal for a lot of things. It's kind of just like everything is technically legal until like the government comes in and like wants to like force you to not do something. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Like, it's kind of just like we have
there's
like
things that are illegal and everything else is
right.
just is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So yeah, it's like I guess it's like the right word is like I don't think it should be illegal.
Yeah, right.
But like yeah, I don't know. I think about that with like that concept with with like surrogacy too, like like having someone's baby, like a woman like renting her womb basically and having like someone's like baby like implanted in her uterus.
How much do they get for that?
So the last thing I saw was like, I'm sure some people get more and some get less, but like one thing I saw was like $40,000, and that is just like not enough money. $40,000.
That's nothing. That's shit. For 9 months of work, that's like, yeah, like you should at least get $100,000. At least.
You're usually pregnant, like in the average amount of time someone is pregnant is 40 weeks. And so if you have $40,000, that will literally just be $1,000 a week.
That sucks.
Minus like giving birth and like the whole like postpartum period, like, and the fact that you're like giving away this like baby that you just like created like in your womb, like that you're like connected to, like you form like an emotional bond with.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I have a lot of feelings and opinions about like surrogacy and like IVF and stuff, but like yeah, like it's just kind of like this idea that like should women be like what, so say like, you know, a really poor woman like rents out her womb, like, you know what I mean, for like $40,000 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like should she necessarily be allowed to do that?
Yeah,
or
definitely.
is it like exploitative?
No, she should definitely be allowed to do
like,
that.
You know,
why would you stop her from doing that? Who's getting harmed?
Like her.
Why? She's getting money.
I mean, I guess you can think about it that way.
No one's getting harmed. The baby's getting a home. She's getting money.
The baby, it wouldn't exist if they didn't do this.
But
like, it's not like adoption where it's like, oh, like the baby already exists.
I mean, I personally think it's kind of weird and like and fucky of a situation, and it's a situation I would never want to be a part of or be in personally. But you know, if other people want to do that, you know, that's not my right to come in and be like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I don't know, like
as long as no one's hurting anyone, like they're not hurting anybody. You know, there's people do weird shit all the time.
I think you're hurting the baby
by like taking it away from its birth mother.
I think you're hurting the mother as well, and you know, for money, like I think you're hurting the baby because the baby, like when you give birth, like when you are like pregnant with a baby and then give birth to the baby, like the baby only knows like you. Like, you're the baby's whole world.
Right.
Like, babies come out of the womb, like, knowing who their mom is. Like, who, you know, like, the person who, like their home.
Yeah, that's
kind
of
of
why, like, the situation seems fucky to me.
Yeah, and then there have been situations where, like, you know, there'd be, like, a surrogate couple who, like, or, like, a couple who takes someone's surrogate baby, and the baby just, like, cries and cries and cries, and then, like, they'll invite the surrogate over. And the surrogate will hold the baby, and like the baby like is calm for like the first time, like since like, you know what I mean. It wants
to be with its birth mother naturally. Yeah. Yeah, we're like one step away from just growing babies in the womb. I mean, growing babies like in a lab.
It's very like Handmaid's Tale to me, like surrogacy and stuff.
Yeah, Handmaid's Tale's a great show.
But like, yeah, it's just kind of like, I guess it's like that. Like if you think about, like, I mean, sex isn't like as big of a deal as that, obviously. Like prostitution.
Yeah.
But it's also just like having sex like with people. Like having sex is just like risky. like inherently like having sex is just like inherently risky.
I feel like somewhat risky. I mean, most of the stuff they tell you in school is like really conflated and made to make you scared of sex and terrified, so that you don't cause any issues for your parents or
having
whatever. It's like a bunch of scare tactics.
Like the reason why we like have sex is to like make babies. So like when you do it, like you're opening yourself. If you're having sex with like, if you're like straight, like with like a man and a woman having sex, like you're opening yourself up to.
If you're cis AF.
Having a baby. So like even
if you use
protection, like you're still opening yourself up.
There's still there's always a chance you get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also
you should be ready. You should be ready to like take responsibility.
And also birth control sucks, so you shouldn't even really be taking birth control.
Yeah.
Every form of birth control is like horrible for your body in like some capacity for like women.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like...
That's why I exclusively fuck prostitutes in the ass. Every time. Without fail.
Mm-hmm.
Foolproof. Bulletproof. So that's like what I would recommend personally. If you're gonna...
You know, I don't make the rules. This is just, you know, how it is.
Yeah. No, I mean,
like if
it's really just like...
It would be cool if, you know, we could just like turn off our fertility with like no side effects or no problems.
The thing is, it's like consenting adults, like grown people making decisions about what they want to do with their lives and the kind of experiences they want to have. It's like not my place to like say like, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that.
Like, what are you talking about?
As long as they're not hurting anyone, I can't.
Like who? Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, but you're saying that the baby is going to be hurt, right?
I mean, I don't necessarily think it should be like illegal. I just think it's like stupid, or like I just think it's like unnecessary, or like we're just like getting to this like place where we're just like
straying further and further away from God.
Like, yeah.
I don't believe in God, but like, yeah, there's like a natural order to the world, and we're just changing it so rapidly. Like we're like this close to growing babies in a test tube, and just like not even bypassing the need for women at all.
Yeah, like I just kind of feel like a natural like right is like to be born like naturally and like have like a mother.
Or like gene editing. Like they've been doing lots of work into that, like giving your baby the right eye color that you want, and making sure the baby has like good muscle tone. And
you know what that's called? It's called eugenics.
Yeah, right.
Taking a page out of Hitler's book.
It's an advanced form of eugenics. Yeah, it's pretty creepy stuff.
Yeah.
And like I definitely don't want to be like a naysayer to like new technology or like new ideas, because I don't want to become stagnant and stuck in my ways. But it just gives me like a bad vibe.
I just feel like they're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, the whole surrogacy thing, and then the whole like, yeah, like editing genes or like growing kids in a tube. It's just, yeah, I'd rather kids be grown like in an actual woman.
It's just kind of like, you know how I just kind of feel like having two parents, like a mom and a dad, and like being born like normally, like is like almost like a natural right, because it's like it's kind of like the freedom of like speech, like it's like a negative right. Like do you have you heard of like the concept of like negative versus positive rights? Like negative is kind of just like a right that like you just naturally, like that someone could take away from you but they can't give to you, if that makes sense. So it's like the right, like freedom of speech, like is like someone can try to take away your right to freedom of speech, but like you just but you can just speak and think, like no one can really give it to you, like, you know what I mean? And then like a positive right would be like how people say like, oh, we have like a right to healthcare, like somebody has to like give you the healthcare. Yeah. Or like I have a right to like food or like shelter, like someone has to like give it to you, like,
yeah, it has to be created.
Yeah But like a negative right is just like something that you just have.
Yeah.
And I just kind of feel like, yeah, like I don't know, like
having like taken away.
Yeah, like I just
Yeah.
feel like having like a mom and a dad, like, and like being born like naturally, like that's almost like a negative, right? Because it's like if like someone didn't come in and like intervene and like do all this crazy like scientific like technological stuff, like you wouldn't be in this situation where like you were like born and like were taken away from your mom and like given to these like random people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Well, a lot of times don't they put their own egg in the woman, in their own sperm?
Yeah.
So it's like it's still your mom. It's just not the person who like. It's weird because
Grew
then you
you.
have like two moms technically because it's like you
Yeah.
have the DNA of one person, but then you were grown in another person. Yeah, it's a
Mhm.
strange situation. I don't know that much about it, but it definitely like weirds me out because it's kind of like if you're infertile and you've tried everything, you know, and you can't get pregnant yourself, like wouldn't the next logical step just be like adopt a child that already exists or to like just like try to find a more natural way? It just seems like a lot of like medical intervention to kind of achieve this like new baby just because you desperately need your genes like passed on. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
don't
tough
know.
situation because like
Yeah.
if we were infertile, it'd be hard. But I just feel like my natural instinct would be like, okay, I guess it's time to like start looking into adoption. I'd find like a
Yeah,
baby
I just
or
feel
a
really
young kid.
fortunate that we were like so fertile.
Yeah, we're really fortunate. So it's hard to speak on.
I kind of feel like IVF is like also like a messy situation because like sometimes they like if it's like really successful, it can create like
Oh yeah,
10 like embryos, like 10.
yeah, that
And then
sucks
so
when
it's
that
kind of
happens.
just like, well, now there's like 10 babies, but it's kind of like, I just feel like if like you were to do that, like you would have, like if I were in the situation, like I'd feel like I would just have to like give birth to all of them or like at least try.
Well, you can't give birth to 10 babies.
What do you mean?
10?
People fucking have like 19 kids and counting.
No,
You don't think
I'm
we can?
talking about all at once.
No, like they create the children in like a petri dish.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then they, sometimes like 10 eggs get fertilized.
Mm.
And so you have 10 embryos. And then they have to like, put the baby into you somehow, like with a syringe or whatever.
So you're saying you'd want to do all 10?
I just feel like you'd have to. Because I believe life starts like at conception,
Sure.
So like I just kind of feel like I would like have to do that.
How long
like,
can they keep those embryos on ice for?
For like ever, basically, for like
Oh, wow.
like years.
So it's just
I
kind of like
just-
sitting there, just hanging out?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool. I got confused because there's like different terms, but like there's like stuff you can do to like make yourself more fertile, like if you're having trouble conceiving.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times women will like do the rounds of that treatment and then they'll become pregnant with like triplets
Mhm.
or whatever because like they just like
Yeah, they like produced like lots of eggs.
they produce way more or whatever,
Yeah.
and like so now they're having like a ton of babies or like
Mm-hmm.
quintuplets or whatever,
Yeah.
which is like insane. That would suck. I mean, it'd be cool to have like 4 babies at once, but it'd also be like
Oh my god.
terrible on your body, I'm sure. Like it'd just be brutal.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of women who are pregnant with like quintuplets and it's like shit, dog. I don't know how you come back from that.
Forrest like really wants me to have twins.
Yeah, I think twins, when you compare it to like quintuplets, like how hard can it be? Like,
I don't
twins,
I don't want that.
not that big a deal.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because then you get like a 2-for-1.
No. I just like to have one baby at a time. I'm good with just one
It'd
at
be so
a time.
cute though. You could like dress them up matching. It'd be like Fred
We
and
can
George
dress
from Harry
them up
Potter.
matching right now. Like
But they're different. They're like different ages. It'd just be cute to have
as
like
the
two.
kids get older, they'll seem less different. Like they just like Luna and River seem really different right now because like
I want them to be matching. I want them to finish each other's sentences.
like the guys on the Bachelorette.
Yeah, but not like that. Because when they get older, they should live separately and lead different lives.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still hang out, but not like.
Why
every
do we
day.
always end up talking about really serious stuff on the podcast?
I don't know.
I can
We're just
never-
serious people.
I can never keep it light. Sometimes I come into the podcast and I'm like, I'm not going to talk about anything serious. I'm not going to, like pass judgment on any situation or people.
You do?
And then it always like just turns around and I always just can't help myself.
That's funny. Yeah, I feel like this is the more serious podcast because like the bait buffet I do with Mason, that's the one where I like, you know, you really just fuck around.
I really wish I don't know. I'm just like bad at like.
I still do that on the bait buffet though, where I'll go into like real stuff and real topics because sometimes like I really want to debate Mason about something and that's like my opportunity too. But like, yeah, I've kind of got to pick and choose my battles because it's ultimately like supposed to be like a goofy fuck off show. Whereas this show, I feel like we can talk about more like real shit because you're more of a serious like person.
I just like, I wish, yeah, I'm just not very like funny. And I just kind of like just like think about like philosophical like dilemmas and stuff a lot. So it's like on my mind.
I think you're funny.
Like how? Like,
You're just like funny in like personal moments between the two of us. But like you're not like funny like, you know, on the podcast because like it's not really a comedy podcast.
I mean, like it could be if I was funnier.
Well, maybe the next episode we should try to do more comedy. Guys, tell us what you think. Do you want more funny or do you want more money? That doesn't make any sense, but it rhymes. Do you want more funny or do you want more
and then
serious stuff?
I always feel like weird like after we end the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I like feel like I talk to Forrest about stuff like this a lot.
Yeah.
But then like after we talk about it on the podcast, I feel like weird. I feel like I like,
you went too far?
Yeah.
You may have gone too far in a few places.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're still learning, you know. We're always in the process
and
of
then
learning
like I
and
hate listening to
becoming who we are.
myself talk like from like in the past or whatever because I feel like sometimes my opinions change.
Yeah, well that's natural. That's part of life. And it's good that it's documented.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like it's more embarrassing.
No. It's more embarrassing to stay quiet and to censor yourself than it is to put yourself out there. It's brave. I wish more people did it.
Maybe I'll ask Forrest to like cut out like a lot of what I said in this podcast.
No, you're fine. I'm not cutting anything out.